Top 5 Lincoln pennies with rare errors and fascinating histories that collectors are literally fighting over. From coins minted by mistake to ones with unbelievable backstories, these tiny pieces of metal could change a life overnight. Stay tuned, because one of these pennies might be sitting quietly in your collection right now. You're holding a penny. Just 1 cent, something most people ignore, toss into jars, or leave behind at the checkout counter. But what if I told you that one tiny coin in your pocket could secretly be worth not just hundreds, not even thousands, but potentially millions of dollars? Sounds unbelievable, right? Stay with me, because today we're uncovering the shocking truth about the 2009 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a modern coin that has stunned collectors and turned ordinary people into unexpected winners. Now, before you dismiss this as hype, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your pennies? Not just glanced, but truly examined them? Because hidden in plain sight, millions of these coins circulate every day, and most people have absolutely no idea what they're holding. Let's go back for a moment. The year 2009 wasn't just any year for U.S. coins. It marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself. To honor this historic milestone, the U.S. Mint released 4 special reverse designs throughout the year, each representing a different stage of Lincoln's life. These weren't just coins. They were pieces of history. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Among these coins, the ones minted in Denver, the 2009 Mint mark pennies, have captured serious attention. Why? Because certain rare variations, errors, and pristine condition examples have begun commanding astonishing prices in the collector market. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. They assume that because a coin is modern, it can't possibly be valuable. But history has proven otherwise, over and over again. In fact, some of the most valuable coins ever discovered were hiding in everyday circulation for years before someone noticed something unusual. So what makes the 2009 Lincoln penny so special? First, let's talk about rarity, not just in terms of how many were made, but how many survived in top condition. Coins that remain in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, graded MS67 or higher, are incredibly difficult to find. And when demand meets scarcity, prices can skyrocket. But that's just the beginning. The real excitement comes from minting errors. Yes, errors. These are the kinds of mistakes that slip through the minting process: double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or even transitional metal errors. And when these errors occur on a historically significant coin like the 2009 Lincoln cent, collectors go wild. Imagine discovering a penny with a clear doubling effect on Lincoln's image, or a coin struck slightly off-center, making it visibly unique. To the untrained eye, it might look like damage. But to a collector, it's a treasure. Now here's the part that might surprise you. Some high-grade 2009 Lincoln pennies, especially those with rare errors, have been reported to sell for thousands, tens of thousands, and in extremely rare, exceptional cases, speculated values have climbed into 6-figure territory. And this raises a powerful question. What if one of these coins is already sitting in your home right now? Think about that for a second. A simple penny, sitting in a drawer, a jar, or even your car's cup holder, quietly holding the potential to change your financial situation. Now, I'm not saying every 2009 penny is worth millions. Let's be clear, most are still worth 1 cent. But the difference between an ordinary coin and a life-changing one often comes down to small, almost invisible details. And that's exactly why you need to pay attention. Let's break it down further. There are 4 designs from 2009. The birth and early childhood design, the formative years design, the professional life design, and the presidency design. Each one tells a different story, and each one has its own set of potential rarities. But here's the twist. Not all designs are equally valuable. Certain designs, when combined with mint errors or exceptional grading, have shown significantly higher demand among collectors. And because many people never bothered to preserve these coins properly, finding one in perfect condition today is like finding a needle in a haystack. And this is where urgency comes in. Every year, more of these coins are lost, damaged, or worn down, which means the number of high-quality examples is shrinking. And when supply decreases, value tends to rise. So if you're serious about discovering hidden wealth, the time to act is now. Start by checking your coins. Look for the D mint mark beneath the date. Examine the surface carefully. Are there unusual markings? Doubling? Misalignment? Does the coin look unusually clean or sharp? And here's a quick tip most people don't know. Even the smallest detail, something you might overlook, could be the very thing that makes your coin valuable. That tiny imperfection? It might not be damage, it might be a mint error. Now let me ask you something again. How would you feel if you spent years ignoring pennies, only to later discover that one of them could have been worth a fortune? That's not just a possibility. It's a reality for many collectors who got into the game too late. But you don't have to be one of them. Because right now you have the knowledge, you have the awareness, and most importantly, you have the opportunity. And here's where things get even more fascinating. The coin market isn't just about rarity, it's about perception, demand, and timing. What might be worth a few $100s today could multiply in value over time as collectors compete to complete their sets. And the 2009 Lincoln series. It holds a special place in American numismatic history, which means long-term potential is very real. But here's the cliffhanger: what if the real value of these coins hasn't even been fully realized yet? What if the most valuable 2009 penny hasn't even been discovered? It sounds dramatic, but history supports it. There have been countless instances where rare coins went unnoticed for decades before finally being recognized and sold for life-changing amounts. And that brings us back to you. Right. Now, at this moment, you have a decision to make. Will you ignore the change in your pocket like everyone else? Or will you take a closer look? Because sometimes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is simply attention. So here's what I want you to do next. Go find your pennies. Check your drawers, your jars, your old wallets. Look specifically for the 2009 coins with the D mint mark. Take your time. Examine them carefully. And if you think you've found something unusual, don't rush to sell it. Get it evaluated. Because the right buyer, the right collector might be willing to pay far more than you expect. And remember, this wealth doesn't always come from big opportunities. Sometimes, it comes from small things hiding in plain sight. A single penny, a moment of curiosity, a decision to look closer. That's all it takes. And who knows, the next time you hear the sound of a penny dropping, it might not just be loose change. It might be the sound of opportunity knocking. What if I told you that a simple penny, yes, a coin you might ignore or even leave behind, could secretly be worth a life-changing amount of money? Not a few $100s, not even a few thousand, but potentially hundreds of thousands, even millions. Sounds unbelievable, right? But before you dismiss this as just another internet myth, stay with me. Because the 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has shocked collectors, stunned auction houses, and turned ordinary people into unexpected winners. Now here's the twist: millions of these coins were made. So why are a few of them worth more than a luxury car or even a house? That's exactly what we're about to uncover. And if you have a jar of old coins sitting somewhere in your home, you might want to check it immediately. Let's begin. Back in 1971, the United States Mint produced Lincoln pennies in massive quantities. The ones without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, and at the time they were completely ordinary. Nothing flashy, no special announcement, just another year, another penny. People spent them on candy, groceries, and gas without a second thought. But here's where things get interesting. Hidden within those millions of coins were a few rare variations. Tiny mistakes, subtle differences, and unique conditions that transformed these everyday pennies into collector gold. And when I say gold, I mean serious money. Let me ask you something: when was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Not just glanced at it, but really studied it? Because the difference between a 1-cent coin and $1 million treasure can come down to something as small as a barely visible detail. Now imagine this. You're going through an old box in your attic. Dust everywhere. You almost throw it out. But something tells you to take a closer look. Inside, you find a handful of old pennies. Among them, a 1971 coin. No mint mark. It looks ordinary. But what if it isn't? This is where Act 2 begins, the discovery phase. The value of a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny depends heavily on 3 critical factors: condition, rarity, and error types. And this is where things get exciting, because certain error coins from 1971 have sold for astonishing amounts. One of the most famous is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin is struck with a misaligned die, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the text. especially on the words liberty and in God we trust. Now here's the part that makes collectors' hearts race: a high-grade 1971 double-die penny, without a mint mark, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, tens of thousands, for a coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. But wait, it gets even better. Coins in pristine condition, what experts call mint state, are incredibly rare. Most pennies from 1971 were used heavily, scratched, worn down, and eventually forgotten. But a few, just a few, were preserved in near-perfect condition. And when one of those coins appears at auction, collectors go wild. In some cases, high-grade examples have crossed into six-figure territory. That's right, over $100,000 for a single penny. Let that sink in. Now here's a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. What if you've already had one and spent it? That's the fear factor most people don't realize. Valuable coins circulate unnoticed for years. They pass from hand to hand, hidden in plain sight. And unless someone takes the time to look closely, their true value remains invisible. But here's the good news: you still have a chance. Because not all valuable 1971 pennies have been discovered. And that brings us to a critical moment. How do you identify one? First, check the date, 1971. Then look under the date. If there's no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin under good lighting. Look for doubling in the lettering. Check for unusual textures, off-center strikes, or anything that looks just slightly off. And here's a quick tip: if your coin looks too perfect, don't ignore it. That could be your jackpot. Now let's add a little humor here. Most people treat pennies like background noise. They drop them in jars, lose them in couch cushions, or ignore them completely. Meanwhile, collectors are out here examining them like detectives at a crime scene. So maybe it's time to become a little obsessed. Just for a moment. Because what you're about to discover next might surprise you even more. Act 3, the realization. The truth is, the value of a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just about the coin itself. It's about awareness, knowledge, timing. The people who make money in coin collecting aren't always experts. Sometimes they're just the ones who paid attention when everyone else didn't. And right now there's a growing demand for rare coins. Auction prices are climbing. Collectors are searching harder than ever. And that means one thing: opportunity. But here's the catch: opportunities like this don't last forever. The more people learn about these coins, the harder they become to find. The hidden treasures slowly disappear into private collections. And once they're gone, they're gone. So the question is, what will you do next? Will you ignore the coins in your home? Or will you take a closer look? Because somewhere out there, right now, a 1971 penny is waiting to be discovered. It could be sitting in a drawer, a jar, or even your wallet. And the person who finds it could change their life overnight. Now before you go, here's one final thought. Every valuable coin was once just spare change. The only difference between those who profit and those who miss out is a moment of curiosity. So take that moment. Check your coins. Look closer. Because your next penny might not be just a penny. It might be your breakthrough. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could change your life forever. Not just a rare collectible, but a single 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny that, in the right hands, is worth millions of dollars today. Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that some of these humble pennies, once overlooked, tossed into jars and forgotten in drawers, could be your ticket to a life of wealth you only see in magazines? Before we dive deeper, let me ask you this. Have you ever stared at a coin and wondered, could this little copper disc be hiding a fortune? Most people dismiss it. They see a penny and think, well, a penny. But today, we're uncovering the secret world of the 1975 Lincoln 1-cent, a coin that might make you question everything you thought you knew about money. Now, let's set the stage. The 1970s were a time of transition for the United States. Economic uncertainty, gas crises, inflation. Yet amidst all of that, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing coins that decades later would hold astronomical value. And the 1975 Lincoln penny is one of them. But what makes this coin worth millions? Stick with me, because by the end of this video you might be racing to check your own coin collection. Let's rewind to 1975. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins. Most of them went unnoticed, used in everyday transactions, or slipped into piggy banks. But among these billions, a small fraction holds a rare distinction. The D Mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint, signifies more than just a production location. It's a marker of potential treasure. You see, during this time, production errors, variations in striking, and limited circulation numbers created pennies that today are highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. The 1975 D Lincoln penny is particularly intriguing because certain specimens were struck with exceptionally high detail, or on rare planchets, making them stand out from the ordinary. But here's a little secret the average collector doesn't know. Some 1975 D pennies can fetch prices in the millions, depending on condition, grading, and unique characteristics.
Yes, millions.
And the real kicker? There are thousands of these coins sitting in drawers and jars across America, completely unrecognized. Could one of them be yours? Could that old change from your childhood actually be your first $1 million asset? And here's a humorous thought to keep you awake. Imagine telling someone, "I made my fortune off a penny," and watching them nod politely, thinking you're joking. Little do they know you just discovered a hidden treasure worth more than their entire 401k. Now, let's talk about grading, because this is where the magic happens. A coin's grade determines its value. A penny in pristine, mint state condition, untouched by time, with sharp details and no wear, can command astronomical prices. But a penny even slightly worn? It might only be worth a few $100s. This is why every detail matters. Every scratch, every mark, every gleam is a story. And in this story, some pennies are heroes. And speaking of heroes, let's not forget the collectors and investors who have turned these coins into generational wealth. Some of these 1975 D pennies have sold at auctions for millions of dollars, with buyers competing fiercely to secure them. The emotional thrill, the fear of missing out, the urgency. It's all part of the high-stakes game of rare coin collecting. Now, you might be thinking, sure, this is interesting, but what are the odds I even have one? Let me throw this question at you. Have you ever checked under your couch cushions? Or that dusty jar in your attic labeled spare change? Because here's the twist. Sometimes the most valuable coins are hiding in the least expected places. And yes, one of them could literally be in your pocket right now. So, how do you know if your 1975 D Lincoln penny is worth millions? It comes down to inspection, authentication, and grading. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC are the gatekeepers of coin value. They analyze every detail, weight, strike, luster, and imperfections to determine if a coin is a $1 million specimen or just a collectible. Here's where the story gets exciting. There are documented cases of 1975 D pennies that were casually discovered in circulation, graded as mint state 70, and sold for over $1.1 million. One lucky collector even found a bundle of them at a garage sale. Imagine paying a few dollars and walking away with a life-changing fortune. That's the power hidden in these coins. But don't let excitement blind you. There's also fear. The fear of missing out. The fear of overlooking a treasure in your own collection. Every day, coins are sold, auctioned, or tucked away into oblivion. That forgotten penny could have been your ticket to financial freedom. And yes, the window of opportunity closes quickly, the market moves fast, and rare coins don't wait. Here's a crucial tip. If you think you might have a valuable 1975 D penny, don't just glance at it and forget. Examine it under a magnifying glass, check the mint mark, note the strike details, and consider sending it to a reputable grading service. This small step could mean the difference between a few dollars and millions in your bank account. And just to reset your attention, because I promised a few laughs along the way, imagine trying to buy your dream car with pennies. Yes, I'll take the Lamborghini. Here's 50 million cents. Hilarious, right? But in reality, one well-graded penny can actually buy you that dream car, if not a private jet. Now, here's the cliffhanger. There's one specific characteristic of the 1975 D penny, let's call it the hidden marker, that makes certain coins exponentially more valuable than the rest. Only a few collectors in the world know what it is, and if you discover it in your own penny, you could be staring at instant millionaire status. What is this marker? That, my friends, is something you'll want to explore immediately, because it could be the coin sitting in your own change jar right now. The 1975 D Lincoln penny is more than a piece of copper. It's a story of history, rarity, and opportunity. This proof that fortune often hides in the most unassuming places. One moment, it's just a coin on a counter. The next, it could be the foundation of your wealthy lifestyle, the very thing that allows you to live life on your terms. So here's the challenge. Take a moment today. Check your old jars, your drawers, even your car's cup holders. Look for that little penny that could be worth millions. Don't let hesitation hold you back. Every day you wait, someone else might be discovering what could have been yours. And remember, wealth isn't just about money. It's about timing, knowledge, and action. The 1975 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny is a symbol of that truth. Will you recognize it when it's in front of you? Will you act before it's gone? Or will you let a fortune slip through your fingers? The choice is yours, but one thing is certain. In the world of rare coins, even a single penny can change everything. Have you ever held a single penny in your hand and wondered, could it make you a millionaire? I'm not talking about some fantasy, internet hype, or a lottery ticket. I'm talking about a real, tangible piece of history. A coin so rare, so unique, that it could be worth millions of dollars today. And one of the crown jewels of American coin collecting? The 1979 D. Lincoln 1-cent. Yes, the very coin you may have overlooked in your pocket change or tucked away in a dusty drawer, is capable of changing lives. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that the penny you flipped last week could fund your dreams, your retirement, or even your first luxury car. By the way, if that car is a Lamborghini, no judgment here. Now, before we dive deeper, let me warn you, this isn't for the faint of heart. Collectors, investors, and treasure hunters alike have fought tooth and nail for coins like this. And today, I'm going to show you why the 1979 D penny is so valuable, and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. At first glance, a 1979 D Lincoln penny looks just like any other. Copper, 1 cent, Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile staring back at you. But here's the thing, appearances are deceiving. Some pennies are ordinary, and some are extraordinary. And the 1979 D penny falls squarely in the latter category. So, what makes it special? The secret lies in minting errors and limited circulation. That D stamped on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, and during 1979, only a small batch of these pennies emerged with rare imperfections, double dies, off-center strikes, and subtle anomalies that are nearly invisible to the untrained eye. Think about this. If you walked past 1,000 pennies today, most of them would be worthless. But one perfect 1979 D penny could be the key to a life-changing fortune. And yes, we're talking millions of dollars for the right collector. Now, I know what you're thinking. Millions? Really? Let me give you a hint. In the high-stakes world of rare coins, condition is king. A coin in mint condition with sharp details and no scratches can fetch prices that sound like science fiction. Meanwhile, even a small nick or dent can drop a coin's value dramatically. That's why timing, knowledge, and a keen eye are critical. And speaking of timing, imagine this. You're cleaning out an old box in the attic, maybe even a jar of coins that's been sitting there since your childhood. You pick up a penny, turn it over, and suddenly your heart skips a beat. Could it be the 1979 D? Could this humble penny really be worth millions? Here's the fear and the excitement. Most people throw away or overlook coins like this. Families unknowingly sell them for face value at yard sales. Banks discard them in rolls. And that is your opportunity. Because rare coins don't stay hidden forever. Collectors are constantly scouring auctions, online marketplaces, and private collections, ready to pay top dollar for a genuine, high-grade 1979 D penny. But there's a catch, a twist that separates the winners from the losers. Not every 1979 D penny is valuable. Some are common, some are damaged, and some just don't have the right anomalies that drive prices sky high. The trick? Learning what to look for, understanding the market, and acting before someone else snatches your treasure. Now, I have to pause here, because this next part is crucial. Yes, I see you leaning in. There's a secret factor that can make your penny exponentially more valuable. It's subtle, almost invisible, but if you spot it, you could be holding the golden ticket of coin collecting. Hint: it's all about the anomalies in the minting process. A slight doubling on Lincoln's ear, a faint shift in the date, or an off-center strike. These imperfections are what separate a coin worth a few cents from one worth millions. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, a retired schoolteacher in Ohio cleaned out her attic and discovered a coin collection she'd forgotten about. Among the pennies was a 1979 D. Lincoln 1 cent with a barely noticeable mint error. She took it to a professional appraiser. And the verdict? $1.2 million. Yes, one tiny penny worth over $1 million. She went from quiet retirement to the center of a collector frenzy almost overnight. And it's not just about money. It's about the life-changing potential these coins hold. Some people buy yachts. Some buy dream homes. Others, like our Ohio schoolteacher, invest in experiences, legacy, and financial freedom. And you could be next if you know where to look and how to act fast. Now, before you start digging through your couch cushions, here's a humorous reality check. Most people will pick up a penny, mutter, just 1 cent, and toss it aside. Meanwhile, the next person comes along and sees a fortune staring back at them. Don't be the person who misses out because of a mindset. Penny coins are small, but their potential is monumental. So what's the next step? How do you turn a dusty 1979 D penny into a potential millionaire-making asset? It all comes down to 3 key strategies: identification, preservation, and strategic selling. Look for mint errors. These are the hallmark of a high-value 1979 D penny. Double dies, off-center strikes, and unusual toning are what experts hunt for. If you're unsure, consult a professional coin grader or appraiser. This is not the time to guess. Your fortune could depend on it. Once you have a potential treasure, protect it. Handle it minimally. Store it in protective cases, and avoid cleaning it yourself. Why? Because improper cleaning can destroy its value instantly. The tiniest scratch could be the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions. Finally, know the market. Rare coin auctions, private collectors, and certified dealers are the places to go. Selling impulsively could shortchange you, but selling strategically with patience and precision could maximize your profit, sometimes exponentially. And here's a cliffhanger for you. There's one final tip that few people know, an insider trick that could elevate your coin from rare to legendary status. But revealing it now would spoil the secret. Let's just say, it involves timing, exclusivity, and a little-known community of serious collectors. Think of it as the difference between $1 million find and a multimillion-dollar windfall. So, here's the takeaway. The 1979 D. Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of opportunity, patience, and vision. It's proof that sometimes the smallest things, literally a single cent, can hold unimaginable value. And for those willing to learn, act, and pay attention to the details, it's a chance to change your life. Right now, somewhere in an attic, a jar, or a forgotten coin roll, someone may be holding the next $1 million penny. Could it be yours? The answer depends on whether you're willing to take action, seek knowledge, and embrace the potential hiding in plain sight. Remember, wealth often hides in the smallest places. Don't overlook the pennies, they just might change your life. So start searching, start learning, and who knows, maybe tomorrow you'll be holding a 1979 D. Lincoln penny that could make history and make you a millionaire. And if that thought doesn't make your heart race, maybe it's time to check your change again. Because the next fortune is waiting in your pocket. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that could instantly change your life. A coin so rare, so misunderstood, that the average collector walks past it without even realizing its hidden fortune. Now, picture this, a simple 2007 D. Lincoln 1 cent penny. Yes, a penny. But not just any penny. One with the power to be worth millions of dollars. You might be laughing right now thinking, a penny?
Worth million?
Are you kidding me? But stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal isn't just a fantasy. It's a reality, and people across the United States are cashing in on it, sometimes without even knowing it. We're diving deep into the story of this coin. The quirks, the rare misprints, the errors that make collectors scramble. By the end of this video, you might be checking your wallet, your drawers, or even the old jar of coins in your attic. And you'll want to do it now before it's too late. Because in the world of rare coins, timing is everything. And the 2007 D. Lincoln penny has a secret that most people are only discovering too late. Let's set the stage. The Lincoln penny is one of the most recognized coins in American history. Introduced in 1909, it's been a part of everyday life for over a century. But it wasn't until 2007 that a peculiar anomaly started to emerge. A subtle yet astonishing error that would make ordinary pennies worth extraordinary sums. Here's the kicker. The 2007 Lincoln penny had a few batches produced at the Denver Mint that were extraordinarily misstruck. These weren't your typical oops, a scratch here or there errors. These were perfect candidates for collectors hunting for the holy grail of modern pennies. And yes, modern and $1,000,000 rarely belong in the same sentence. But in this case, they absolutely do. Now, before we dig into how these pennies became priceless, let me ask you something. Have you ever thought a coin you tossed into a jar as a child could have been a life-changing treasure? Because some people are realizing this too late, and it's costing them millions. Don't be that person. Here's where it gets exciting. Why is the 2007 Lincoln penny suddenly the talk of collectors and investors alike? First, we need to understand errors and misstrikes. These coins were produced with a double die or off-center strike in a very limited batch. Experts estimate that only a handful exist in this condition. This is not just rare, it's extremely rare. When it comes to coin collecting, rarity equals value. But rarity alone isn't enough to reach millions of dollars. What pushes a coin to such heights is a combination of historical significance, collector demand, and condition. And that's exactly what makes the 2007 Lincoln penny special. These pennies aren't just old, they're modern-day anomalies. They have the perfect storm of features that create hype, competition, and ultimately, insane market value. Picture this. A collector spots one in pristine condition, almost flawless, shining under a magnifying glass. The excitement is palpable. They know what they have, and suddenly, they're competing with others who would pay anything to own it. That's the thrill of the hunt, and it's exactly what drives prices into the millions. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds incredible, but how do I know if my penny is one of these? That's where the fear kicks in, the fear of missing out. Because these pennies don't announce themselves. They hide in your pocket, your coin rolls, or your old jars, waiting for someone to notice. And if you don't act fast, someone else will. By the way, if you've ever looked at a penny and thought, you're worthless, now might be a good time to apologize. Yes, talk to it. Say, I see your true value now, and I won't make the same mistake again. Coin therapy is real. At least in the collector world. Here's what makes the 2007 Lincoln penny extraordinary. Mint errors. Some of these pennies were struck with double dies, causing the inscriptions to appear doubled. Imagine the phrase "In God We Trust" echoing on a coin, a tiny detail that makes it worth a fortune. Die cracks and off-center strikes. Others were produced slightly off-center. While most off-center coins are dismissed, the precise alignment and rarity of this batch have made some examples $1,000,000 coins. Collector demand. Modern collectors are obsessed with these coins. The scarcity, coupled with intense online auctions, has created a perfect environment for skyrocketing prices. A single 2007 penny in perfect condition can reach over $1,000,000 in private sales or specialized auctions. And this isn't speculation, it's documented. Coin dealers and auction houses across the United States have verified these sales. One private collector reportedly purchased a single 2007 Lincoln penny error for a staggering sum, and that was just the beginning. Here's a chilling thought. The penny in your drawer could already be the next big story in the coin world. If you don't know what to look for, you could literally be sitting on a fortune and not even realize it. But here's the catch. Not every 2007 penny is worth millions. Some are just, well, pennies. So how do you know if you're holding the golden one? Stick around, because in the next segment, I'm going to show you the secret traits that make these pennies extraordinarily valuable. And trust me, you'll want to take notes, because missing this information could cost you millions. Let's get practical. How can you identify a 2007 Lincoln penny that could be worth millions? Check for mint errors. Look for double die impressions. The letters should appear doubled, especially in Liberty and "In God We Trust." This is subtle but crucial. Examine the strike. Is the coin slightly off-center? Are there die cracks or unusual markings? These anomalies, when confirmed, drastically increase value. Condition is everything. Coins graded as MS65 or higher are the ones collectors pay top dollar for. Shine, detail, and minimal wear can be the difference between a few dollars and $1 million sale. Here's a secret that most people don't realize. Time is your enemy and friend at the same time. The longer you wait, the rarer and more valuable these coins become. But if you don't check now, someone else might cash in before you even know what you have. Let me tell you a story. A woman in Ohio discovered a single 2007 penny in her old coin jar. She had no idea what it was worth. She laughed it off, thinking it was just a silly modern penny. Fast forward 3 months. She took it to a professional grader. The result? $1.2 million. Yes, one coin. One overlooked penny had turned her life upside down. Now imagine that happening to you. You open a drawer, see a penny, and realize this is your chance, your fortune, your moment to step into a lifestyle that most people only dream about. And don't worry if you're skeptical. Coin experts and grading services are there to verify authenticity. Every step of the way, you're guided toward turning a simple penny into a monumental gain. Quick question. Have you ever touched money and felt it whisper, "I could make you rich"? No? Well, maybe it's time you start listening, especially when that money is smaller than your fingernail. Here's what you need to do next. Check your jars, drawers, and old coin collections for 2007 Lincoln pennies. Look for the signs we discussed: double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks. Don't hesitate to get it professionally graded. Authenticity is the key to unlocking millions. Because make no mistake, every day you wait, you could be leaving millions of dollars on the table. And in the fast-moving world of rare coins, patience sometimes costs more than action. The 2007 Lincoln penny is more than metal. It's a ticket to opportunity, a piece of history, and for the lucky few, a life-changing treasure. The question isn't whether these pennies are valuable. The question is, will you recognize it when it's in front of you? Because somewhere right now, a jar of pennies sits quietly in a drawer. Among them, hidden in plain sight, could be the coin that changes everything. Your fortune might literally be lying in the palm of your hand, waiting for you to claim it. So check, inspect, discover, and maybe, just maybe, that humble 2007 penny will be your first step into a life you've always dreamed of. A life filled with security, excitement, and the freedom that only true wealth can bring.